not. I don't think you've lived then, have you?
Oh man, I guess not. I'm still young, I guess.
On today's show, we have a special guest who has gone not only by canals, but almost had that very thing happen to her.
Mhm.
We're going to be talking to our guest, Karen Cordaway, today about her trip to, drum roll, where'd she go, Crystal?
Oh, I'm gonna say Amsterdam. So this
Wow.
place, yeah, she told us that it feels like it was Europe squeezed into like this little walkable neighborhood. So I live in Old Town Alexandria, so I like walkability. So I'm excited to hear what she and to describe what these walkable neighborhoods looked like.
We've got that coming up. If you're interested in our gear, head to stackingadventures.com/GOTD. That's gear of the day. Crystal and I and some of our guests have play tested some of our gear. You and I took this piece of gear that's in the store over to the recent bike ride that we did that we talked about on our last show.
Yes.
Little
That's the one? What's it called?
salty britches
The
ointment.
butts salty britches.
Salty
So
britches.
yours looks different from mine. Mine is in a different color package. That's why I'm like, "Hey, that's not what we had." But yeah, yours is totally different than mine.
Yeah, but it
I have the
works,
ladies
doesn't it?
version. It worked so well. You just have to remember
Yes.
to take it with you in the bathroom because you can't reapply it while you're on the bike where you need it most.
Well, maybe you could, but you'd look a little bit like a pervert. But enough of that.
Yeah,
It's
without the
time for
officer tapping
Crystal's.
you on the shoulder. Oh, it just said, oh, decided me to say, let's get this show on the road.
There we go. All right, music comes up, music goes down. Hey there, adventures. Welcome back to the Stacking Adventure Show. Every adventure has a story. This is where we hear yours. She's Crystal.
And I'm Joe.
And Crystal,
He's
you
Joe.
ready? You ready to meet our guest?
Yes, let's pull back the curtain. It's not the Wizard of Oz, is it?
It is not.
Get it?
It's the Wizard of Connecticut
That's right.
from the Everyday Bucket List. Karen Cordaway's here.
Hello,
I like that.
everybody.
It's about time we got
Welcome
you
back.
back on the show. But usually we're
Mhm.
swapping shows around the holidays. Instead, now we actually have you here, which is awesome. So, how did going to Amsterdam make it to your bucket list?
It was something I always wanted to do, but I didn't think I would do it as soon as I did. It was actually, you're getting to find this out. It was a little bit of a whim. I was originally going to go to Iceland, and then I was watching Ted Lasso catching up with old episodes. And they went to Amsterdam, and I'm like, hey, that looks really nice. So we started researching that. And we were like, let's go there because it does. It looks very manageable. And I mentioned that it has all of the bits of Europe that you like squeezed into one area.
I would
Not
say,
the
speaking of
Eiffel
that,
Tower
so
or anything. Sorry.
right. No. So what would you say, just to paint a picture of like planning too? Like what would you say is your travel personality type? Like what do you normally like to do?
I pick the major sites that I want to see and then I nail those down. I think of it as an outline and I really
Mhm.
build in time to do leisurely stuff and whatever we have the energy for, whatever we're in the mood for. So it's planned and not planned, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I know you were talking about those group tours and all of that.
Yeah.
I've done those before. I just don't like being so tied in. I'll join a tour for a day or so, but I find it hard. You guys will have to counsel me on that.
Well, I like them if
Oh,
they have a lot of flexibility. If they don't have a lot of flexibility, I don't like them as much. So I think I'm with you there.
same.
No, that makes sense.
Same.
I went to Italy when we originally got married, when we first got married, and the whole thing was mapped out. Maybe you had a little bit of time, like we'll meet you in an hour, but we were with the same people the whole time. And I know you two like that. I don't know. I don't know if it's
Well,
because I'm an introvert. There was just certain people that were like, I didn't want to be around them all the time. Sorry.
No, not necessarily. I do like the breaks and stuff too. All right, so let's get to Amsterdam. So then what did it look like when you first stepped off the airplane? Like what were your first impressions?
I didn't really take in any of that. I didn't initially see anything that was like, wow, this is gorgeous. What's nice is when you get off, you're connected right to the train. Like the airport drops
Oh.
you and you could get right on the train. There's a central station. And that's one of the highlights for me. It sounds funny, but just getting around has to be a big perk. Like it has to be easy to get around, whether it's walking, taking a train, a ferry, a tram, whatever. I like having options. And that was a really nice surprise because it's not like, where do we go now to get to our lodging?
Where did you stay?
I stayed, it begins with a J, but it's actually pronounced, I believe, Jordan. It's Jordaan. It's a really nice neighborhood. And we just maybe heard about like, hey, this might be a nice place to stay, but I didn't really realize it's an extremely swanky neighborhood. And yeah, it was really nice. I can't even say enough about it. The rooms are smaller, but it was like a heftier price place to stay. But I always do that because I like convenience. I want to stay in a nice place, my version of nice, for this trip. And it's, I'm sorry, you were asking me, what do I see when I'm there? Or you asked about the hotel? Sorry.
No, that's okay. How far was it from from the airport? That's good that you could hop on the train.
I don't even think it was like 15, 20 minutes. That I'm not
Oh,
good
that's not
with because
bad.
my husband is excellent at that stuff. So I immediately default to like helplessness and I'm not doing anything. But when I'm alone, I figure
love it.
everything out. I'm sorry to admit that in 2026. He's
I
just
think this
really
is
good at it.
I think this is a great thing to check out when you go to a city, though, because Crystal, like
Yeah.
when I was in Athens, taking the train into town was a very, very easy way to get there, and it cut the cost from, a taxi ride would have been 60 or 70 euros because the airport in Athens is so far out,
Far.
to
Yep.
$10. It was $10 to take the subway, but it only cost that much because there was they put an airport tax on it. Like if we ride it any place else, it was like $3, but if you stop at the airport, it's 10.
Ah.
But still, it's a huge savings. It was so easy to do that. And Karen, to your point, you're right downtown when that happens, which is great. And I'm a lot like you too when it comes to the hotels. I really like coming back at the end of the day to a nice place,
Mhm.
and starting out in a nice place, middle of town. Great way to make a trip feel very. It doesn't have to be the most expensive, but I like it centrally located.
And the
Exactly.
perks. What kind of perks did they have that are important to you?
You know what? It's funny because you could eat there if you wanted to. I'm not a person who usually eats at the hotel unless I don't have a plan or we're starving. So you could eat right there. It was cute. They leave you with like a little cute bag with all different specialty items from the area. There was like these little licorice things, and they'll leave you snacks. It was like a cute, like when we were leaving, they give
Yeah.
it to you. But it was just they were, I don't know, good customer service. I guess I don't pay attention as much because once I know I'm safe and everything's clean, I'm not that picky.
Well, but
Well,
that's something not to discount. Clean and safe. Those are two very, very big deals when traveling, especially out of the country.
Well, my place, and I have to get the exact name for you guys. Forgive me. We're embedded in a neighborhood. So I like that too. It wasn't like, when you go to a Hilton or something and you see the big name of the hotel like sticking out of the side and you see it from the street. It wasn't that kind of spot.
Mhm.
So you're in somebody's neighborhood and we're right there. The canals
Getting the
are right
locals.
there. Like, yeah, you're right in it.
it's interesting because when you say neighborhood, you mean this hotel had houses around it and people living it. Like you're in a residential neighborhood. Is that what you're saying?
That is what I am saying.
Gotcha. And you also said that it's lively but pretty chill when you were telling us a little bit about the neighborhood before we jumped on. Describe that because, I hear lively and then I hear pretty chill, and those seem to be the opposites. Like, how paint us a picture of what this neighborhood was like.
Let's see. So it's lively. Like once people are out, everybody's walking around, eating, sightseeing, all of that kind of thing. Bikes everywhere. I don't know. It's not like a city. Like I go to New York a lot. You're not hearing anybody scream, or it's not like, there are fewer cars. So you're not hearing all of that, at least not where I was. I mean, the chill just seems like whenever you go to Europe, when people are sitting outside, they just seem so much more comfortable in their skin and they're relaxing. And it's just, another day in the life to sit there and have a drink or just talk with your friends outside. And every square inch was utilized too. Like I liked that it, like I sometimes say, organized chaos. Like sometimes people would order something inside, sit outside. There weren't any chairs, so they were up on these stairs. And it was just like,
Oh,
it didn't seem like a big deal. Like you just do whatever.
That's cool. So you feel like you're getting like not the tourist experience, but a slice in the life of a Amsterdammer. Is that what they call
everything.
Well, it's kind of hard. I felt like it was hard to know sometimes who was a local and who wasn't, because you do get a lot of other Europeans there. So somebody could walk by. I lived in Spain for a little while, so I could pick up on that accent. So I'm like, okay, they
Oh.
seem like they're Spaniard. And I don't know if it's when in Rome, do as the Romans. Everybody looked a little stylish. They wear their scarf a certain way. Like many people looked European, whether they were or not. Until they open their mouth, you don't know.
Why do you why do you think with all these, you mentioned all these people being outside, why do you think that this outdoor culture, because you go to any cool city, like you mentioned Italy before, like I remember being in Rome, a lot of people outside walking around.
Greece too.
Excuse me, in Athens, I was going to say Amsterdam. I haven't been to Amsterdam. That's why I'm excited about this. Paris, people walking around. Why is it that outdoor culture seems to be such a big part of European cities, you think?
That is a great question. I wish I had the answer to that. I just think they're cooler than us. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I think so. And another thing that cracked me up about them too, because it was like in Greece, everywhere it was more seating outside than inside, and every single table outside was full, and they're out there with their cool cigarettes too. Like like, of course they smoke everywhere. They are. I did get the feeling like everybody enjoyed just being outside, people watching and talking, because it was always loud conversations happening outside everywhere we went to.
That's cool.
So then moving so back in so in Jordan or Jordan, what other kind of like places did you guys visit?
Well, one of the reasons why we stayed there outside of hearing that it was a great place to stay, it was very close to the Anne Frank house, because I didn't even really know what you would do in Amsterdam besides try to look up Joe Saul-Sehy's ancestry. Um, I
It's the best thing to do.
I was just like trying to get a lay of the land. So I knew that was close by, and that was one of the major things I wanted to see. And I just like feeling like I can get up, I can go. I don't have to worry about navigating. Like when we were in Ireland, I loved Ireland, but it was a lot of like, there wasn't really a hub. Like you had to bounce and move from hotel to hotel. So I like that I could see the Anne Frank house. There was a nice pancake place right next to it. I knew it had gluten-free pancakes as well as, the regular kind that everybody really loves, and they make fun of people like me. But, like even that, like I love when everything is so compact and close by, and I just map that part of it out. So then, and then we knew the Van
How
Gogh
far?
Museum was not too far. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying even so for that for Anne Frank's house, was that a another train ride? How did you guys get there?
No, we could just walk. It was very close to where we
Oh,
stayed.
that is super close.
And it's funny because sometimes, okay, one reaction I got when I told someone, it was the secretary or assistant at my doctor's office, she's like, don't you think that's depressing? And I'm like, well, a lot of history is depressing. Like, I didn't view it that way. Like, some people think I'm on vacation. Like, why would you want to do that? I was really blown away. I'm like, because we saw it towards the beginning of our trip, and I'm like, I can't believe like Anne Frank was here before she had to go into hiding. This is where she lived, you know? So I kind of thought of it like it was Anne Frank's neighborhood.
I would expect that to be heavy, but was it heavier than you expected?
I don't see. I don't know, because I listen to a lot of this type of stuff, so I feel like I've always gulped it down in small doses. So going there, to me, it doesn't feel super heavy. Like, I don't want to leave crying, because we hear about these things in the news and, you know,
Sure.
things that still go on today. I just felt like this was iconic, and this lady, this young girl, left such an impression. And even though, you know, it was horrific and it was a tragedy, it was like an amazing thing to see what the human spirit can endure, if that makes sense. So I felt in a weird way like inspired by her.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice house.
Oh boy, I mean, you're talking about hiding in an annex. Like, it almost didn't feel real. Like, when you read about Anne Frank and you know that happened, you think you're reading a story, like a historical story. Oh, it's sad this happened. But then when you're there and you see it's the real bookcase that they hid behind, and you get to see the bookcase move. And then, you know, these friends that they live with had to constantly shut the door. They, you know, they had to be quiet at certain times of day. So I don't know. I was just like blown away. It is sad. I mean, let's face it, and nobody really wants to feel sad, but I don't know. I'm just a believer. Like, you should see these things.
Sure. Yeah. No, but I think about the attic, and I think about how small and how, you know, horrible that would be. But I guess my question was more around, I've never really heard about the house itself though. You know, the people that were hiding her. Was the house nice? Was it a nice place?
You know, it's just like the other structures where, you know, it's a narrow building, and her room was very small. Like, you know, she was hiding in the back. So I don't know how it's weird, because you're in a museum, but you're really in a house.
Yeah.
So you don't know, like, if the modern houses they're really all the same sizes. It's very, you know what, you're going through it and you're going upstairs. So I wasn't really like, oh, is this the average square footage of a house today? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you just go, her room was small, but what's sad too is like, you could see like remnants of little pinup things she would put up, like maybe the celebrities or movie stars of the day. So you very much saw like, yeah, she was what, 12 years old? Like, this was a 12-year-old's room. And I think she had to share it with different people too. So, yeah, it wasn't easy to look at, but they also kept like certain original things, like one of the original sinks. And, you know, you walk through and they have like one of those audio things, and you just put the QR code or however you get it, and you just put it near your ear. Because I wouldn't want to share something that like Joe put in his ears and then somebody else, you know what I mean?
Sitting right here.
So it was nice. It was a nice flow. And then they just, you know, gave you information about different people, you know, different things about Anne. They even spotlighted her sister. Her sister was more introverted, but they wanted to make sure that, you know, people knew about her. She had the similar experience. She just didn't write the diary. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting to be like in the same room, because it is. You almost like feel like the presence of like, wow, my feet are in the same place that her feet were. That is really cool. So then the Van Gogh Museum, was that also walking distance to where you were?
Okay. See, we spaced it out because at the time we had like a vague understanding of we're like, oh, I don't think it's that far. It was like, that was our level of measuring, like
That
how
far.
far. So it was like, I knew I could do like pancakes and Frank House. We left a big gap in between. So
Okay.
we could have lunch, maybe explore. We ended up like visiting the neighborhood where the Van Gogh Museum was the day before, because there was something else over
Mhm.
there that we wanted to see. So we kind of got a feel, and it was nice. So we started Anne Frank like 10:30, stayed maybe, I don't even know if we were there an hour, came out 8, walked around, then made our way over to Van Gogh probably by 2 o'clock. But, we liked having all that in between time.
So what was Van Gogh like?
Another one I really like, tragic, but amazing art. And so that's where he was from. The museum showcases, all of his yellow stuff, those pretty flowers. They also highlight other artists. One of the rooms was called Yellow. So it was interesting that they took a bunch of paintings from that time period and the other people who were popular. And, they show the evolution of his art. And it was very hard for him. Like, I know artists can struggle even in the modern day, but his
Mhm.
parents didn't want him to do that. It took him a long time to even figure out he wanted to be an artist. His brother helped him. Very rough story. I think he only sold one painting in his life, so he's one of those that like
Oh.
blew up after he died. I know this is called the depressing hour, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it was still very inspiring, wonderful art. Happy I saw it. I loved him. He's my new imaginary friend. So I saw him in Amsterdam and he said, "Hey, you like this? Go see Starry Night in New York." I just went to New York and saw that. So they're my imaginary
Oh,
friends.
cool.
Oh, cool.
Inspired more travel. So those two in one day. So then what's your pacing like? So are you done for the day or you're on to the next
You mean
thing on your list?
for that day for what I did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, if I was being my boring self, I would say yes. But then we were like,
Good.
trying to be like, oh, let's go to bed early and get a good start. Blah, blah, blah. No. I said, let's squeeze in a canal tour. So we had already
Ooh.
been there 2 days and we got to see the different boats go by. And I'm like, I don't want to go on that kind of boat, maybe that kind of boat. But then you're kind of like, well, how am I going to, I don't know the name of the company or whatever. But then you just kind of say, hey, I want like an open air boat for me because I get motion sick. I didn't want to be under and covered. And some of them are very bougie and fancy. They look like work
Mhm.
parties. Others look like, maybe the over 60 crowd. There's like a tour.
Mm.
And then there's just random ones. So I just wanted like a casual one where we were outside. We had a really awesome guide, and I could even leave details about him. He was a former police officer. He's
Okay.
really funny. And
Oh.
so I just spotted the boat. I spotted him, and I said, "Let's do that one." So my husband looked up. I don't know if it was Booking or whatever. And because we knew the name of the company, we got that one. And sometimes it's just easier that way to book things that way because you
Yeah.
can. And Frank and
Yeah.
Van Gogh, you have to do it in advance. So
That's good
people
to
who are doing
know.
day trips from other areas, if you don't plan that, you're not getting in. So yeah, so we did those 3 in a day. I don't know if that's still boring to all of y'all, but
No, but my big question about the canal wasn't
Yeah.
actually just booking it. Like, what's a canal tour even like?
Yeah.
well, like I said, they're all different. Like sometimes you can see like a pink boat going by. Sometimes people are fancy.
That's exciting.
It looks like a networking. Like, oh, I get to rub elbows with Crystal. Like, let me go on that
Yes.
boat.
Ooh.
So yeah, they all have like kind of different personalities, and so much of it is who is the person in charge. But
But are
they
you
take
riding out? Are you riding out toward the ocean, Karen, or are you riding through neighborhoods?
Yep, you're
Like,
riding in
what
the
do you?
neighborhoods. You go
Okay.
through all the different canals. They bring you, or at least mine did, to what's called the kissing bridge. They say if people
Oh.
kiss in the middle of the bridge, they'll stay together forever. My canal Tour guide said that didn't work for him. And one of the guests said, well, maybe you weren't in the exact middle of the bridge. So it's really cute. Like, what I like about Amsterdam is you're cobbling together a bunch of things. So the whole thing together is awesome. So in a weird way, that's what makes me like it more, because you don't feel that like pressure. But going back to the canal tour, so he brings you all around, tells you all these, you would have loved him because all the financial details, like seeing how much the narrow houses cost. I mean, I'm gonna have to double check. I thought he said 10,000 euro per square foot, something like
Wow.
crazy. So
Probably.
people don't own one narrow house, even though they look small. So it's almost like what you buy is almost like an apartment. And then he mentioned how a lot of banks own buildings and companies because people just can't afford it. And it actually used to be a poor neighborhood back like in the 50s, or like when Anne Frank was there. But then, I don't, popularity maybe of what it looked like, just over time, people wanting to live there. I don't know. You'd have to ask a historian or Joe's mom the details. But it was interesting too, because when Napoleon came there, he was trying to tax whatever he could. And there was something prestigious about having more windows. So many of those buildings, they're very vertical. You put 2 windows on each side. Well, that wasn't swanky enough. So some people got 3. So Napoleon started taxing people by their windows. Like the more windows you had, the more tax you had to pay.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
So
we are at the halfway point of our discussion. We're going to ask Karen. I want to ask her about the restaurants that she went to, because I'm always interested in food. We got to bring this around to food. I mean, that's the thing we got to focus on. We also need to hear about bicycle culture, and maybe a little bit about Karen's run-in with the red light district. What was that all about?
Oh boy.
So-
Ooh.
Telling all my secrets
Well,
here.
and the other 2 famous things when you think of Amsterdam, the windmills and the tulips.
Oh, we got to do that too,
Right.
Crystal. But we take a break halfway through the show because we have this year-long competition. We have a competition going on that is, where is Crystal Hammond around the world? And we have narrowed it to Japan so far. So we know
Yes.
she's somewhere there. And we got Crystal a guess. We finally got, I don't want to say
Guess,
finally.
a good one.
We got a great
They're
guess.
all good guess ones.
Yes. Yep. And
all good.
so Crystal, we ready? Here we go.
We're ready.
Today's guess comes from Adventure Annette. So far we have guessed, is Crystal near the mountains or in the mountains? And your answer was?
No.
Then is she around the Mediterranean?
That was a no.
And then is she in the Southern Hemisphere?
Was that yes? I still never got a globe.
You were in the Northern
Am I?
Hemisphere.
I'm in the northern. See?
And then were you in the contiguous 48 states of the United
No.
States? The answer was,
That was
no.
a no.
And then we just cut it right to, are you in Japan? And the answer was
Yes.
yes. And so what city in
What's
Japan
that?
is she in? Well, Annette has a guess. Annette, what do you got?
Hi, this is Annette. I am calling to guess where in the world is Crystal. My question is Crystal in the southern half of Japan?
Oh, there it is, Crystal. So are you in the southern half of Japan?
Without having a globe, map, or atlas, I'm going to say yes. I believe so.
The answer is yes.
Sure.
Well, do you want to take a second and look it up to see?
Yes. Play the Jeopardy music. Nope, we don't have
Yes.
licensing for that. All right. Yes, I see it. I am
All right. She
where she
is
just said.
in the southern half. So now Annette's guessing the specific place, probably someplace in the
Ooh,
southern half.
see.
Let's see. Is Annette taking home the Emerald Cruise Lines backpack?
I guess is Crystal in Tokyo.
Is Crystal Hammond in Tokyo, Japan?
Yes. To be more specific, Joe's going to love this. What I originally wrote down is that I am at Disney Tokyo.
Oh, well, heck yeah.
That's where I want to go. I didn't go last time. I went to Japan, so I want to go. I've never been to any Disney. So that might be
we'll
my first Disney.
we'll be playing our interview with Robert Niles from Theme Park Insider here that we did over on Stacking Benjamins. We'll also play it over here because it's a great travel episode. But he said that Disney Seas, Crystal, is the number one park, and in his mind, any place in the world. Like that is the park.
Really?
Yeah, the Disney Seas. So nice
That's the
job.
one?
So
Thank you, Annette.
Adventure
You did it.
Annette brings home the bacon, or in this case, the backpack, not the bacon.
Congrats, Annette, and thanks for guessing.
Yeah, nice job. We're gonna have another one. We'll turn it around, Crystal. Now we'll have me pick one.
Joe, where is Joe going?
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait.
So we'll get that started in the next couple weeks. But
Yay.
for now, we're going to hear, we have a couple sponsors who help us make sure that we can keep podcasting. We're going to hear from them. And then Karen is going to help us zoom back into Amsterdam. All right, Cordaway, let's talk about restaurants because we have to talk food. What was your favorite food in Amsterdam?
Okay. My favorite food was pancakes. And speaking of bacon that you just mentioned, that's one of the traditional ways to have a pancake is they put bacon, they embed bacon in the middle of it.
In the pancake.
Whoa.
They're very thin, they're crispy, they're really, really good. And
I can't be wasting time, by the way, on pancakes and bacon, Crystal. I need to have them together. Like, how lazy are we?
I'm
when
so
we gotta put them
hungry.
together?
Oh, I'm so hungry.
so that was like my big thing that I liked. They are the portion size is very big. So I was like, how am I going to try all the traditional ones? So anytime we had the opportunity to have pancakes, I just signed up. I said, sign me up, please. I want a subscription. So we went to the one near the Anne Frank house. I had an apple pancake there. That's another traditional one. And it's like little slices of apple. They put powdered sugar on it, syrup, etc. But it tastes different. So bacon, apples, and cheese, actually. Those are traditional.
No.
And this is the funny part to us. They really have them for lunch and dinner.
Breakfast for dinner.
That. I can do that.
Pancakes, not just for
I
breakfast.
might do that tonight.
Perfect.
Get ready.
How much Dutch do you know?
I think I know 3 words, but I think I could just read them. It's stuck in my head. I told my husband I've been trying to learn Spanish for I don't know how many years, but because I got pecans with cinnamon and sea salt on them, I know how to spell sea salt in Dutch. So you better watch it. Okay.
Okay.
If she meets the restaurateur who doesn't have any sea salt on the table, she can ask for that.
I'm your girl. Okay.
Well, you can't even ask for it. You got to read it or
I have
write
to
it out.
Spell it. Yeah.
Gotta spell it out.
No, but you know what? Just like any other language, especially with the Romance languages, there's a lot of cognates. Like welcome.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would say it, but it's spelled almost exactly the same.
Yeah, welcome in.
Yeah, and when you go to the store and it says gluten, and then there's like VJ letter, I'm like, hey, that's free. That's gluten free.
Ah, there you go.
Perfect.
So you start picking it up, Joe. You'll feel
But
about
I'm
it.
assuming then, because you made it home fine, that a lot of people spoke English.
Yes. I want to say 90% of the people there speak English. That's what I read. And
Oh.
they quickly switch back and forth. Dutch really is the major language, though. So if you do go to the grocery store and you don't know what something is, it's written in Dutch. Even when I got my Lactaid pills, my overshare here, all the directions were in Dutch. I'm explaining to a young guy that I need Lactaid pill. Okay, so he looked red, and then it made me red. He's like, "Wow,
Aw.
what's going on with her?" But I'm sorry, am I answering questions?
You're doing great.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
I just start
That
getting,
cracks me up.
yeah, start telling you stories, and I'm like, did I even answer the question here?
But restaurants in general, expensive, not expensive? Did you go for more expensive places? Did it depend on the meal?
Let's think. I kind of felt like it's the way that it is here. The prices were similar. So when we walked around the red light district during the day, I did find like an Italian restaurant. I knew they had gluten-free pasta. It's never hard to find gluten-free pasta. I really liked that restaurant. The prices were, like I say, seemed similar to what you expect in the US. And I liked it. It was a decent spot, had a very nice waiter. And that I find it hard to really pick the perfect restaurant. You know, if I'm in an area and I go, hey, this looks good, let's go here. Like, I'm not searching all of my options all the time, unless in advance I know I really want to try this, or I really, I don't usually base things around food unless it's pancakes. Okay. I'm just going to,
But you had some Indonesian food when you were there, right?
you know what? I didn't have it, but I just saw all the different. I have such weird food sensitivities, but I do look up people so I can still tell people like the options that you have. So yes, Indonesian is a popular food there, and that's a culture that is there. There's everything. Like Korean barbecue is popular everywhere. Do you go to Amsterdam for that? I don't know, but I have seen a lot of creators talk about this one place. There is a guy named Todd. So his handle, at least on TikTok, I'm assuming he's on Instagram because it's kind of big. It's Eating with Todd, and he has the craziest like videos. It's all like very indulgent, rich things that maybe I would try one time. Like if you eat like that every day, I don't know, you're going to feel sick. At least I would. But yeah, so he showed there's like this really popular Korean spot, but it's something about the bun. And I'm like, wow, I wouldn't think to do that. But then there's also, this is what's really funny. There's a spot that everybody goes to, and you can have a cookie inside of a cannoli. So it's not necessarily that it's a Dutch thing. Like they do have stroop waffles. You could get it at a market. You could get it at an official store. They actually even have an experience where you can make stroop waffles. So it's kind of like a touristy thing, but kind of cute too. Like you could say you did that there. So there is a lot of variety, and you could tell that some people just heard this is the thing, so they go for it. I want to say, if you've ever heard of Tony Chocolonely, they sell that like maybe at Walmart or Trader Joe's. It's really interesting though. He was a man who started making chocolate that people weren't. It wasn't like the labor was being paid properly. So it's kind of like if you buy his chocolate bar, you're like helping fix the industry and to help workers, be treated nicely and everything like that, blah, blah. But the actual Tony Chocolonely is there. So I didn't know he was out of Amsterdam. It was meant to be. I've been eating that chocolate bar, and then it's there. You could like make your own chocolate bar, but these are still like touristy things.
Cool.
There is Dutch food. Most of it is fried. They have French fries, which I don't know how different they taste from regular French fries. Yeah, there is a variety of restaurants. They have a super old pub. It's like the oldest one in the area. So it's
That's
just,
neat.
do you want to try the Dutch food? I think there's some sort of something you could have with herring. Like if it's not a fish that I would eat here, I'm
Herring.
probably not going to try it somewhere else. But like I said, if you
It
want to
isn't-
check out, go ahead.
Well, it is interesting because I'm just thinking about going to Germany, and it's hard to get away from German cuisine when you're in Germany. But it sounds like to some degree in Amsterdam, if you don't want Dutch cuisine, like you've got, it's much more international.
Right. And I don't even think, I don't know, it doesn't seem like this strong force. Like when you think of that, like the epitome of that is maybe Italy, right?
Yeah.
Because they take pride in every region, and every region is
Yeah.
like, you got to try this, or this one
Yeah,
is seafood,
yeah,
and this one is
yeah.
like the pasta is this way, or carbonara is from this area. You know, it just felt like a side thing. I don't, you know, it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like a thrust.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the
yeah.
apple pie is very dense, but it's apple pie, but it's, you know, from that area. So my husband tried that.
That sounds really good.
Yeah.
Do you want to go back to the houses for a minute, Crystal? Because I think it's funny, you know, because you were mentioning the Anne Frank house. You talked a little bit about the windows and about how the tax system is based on the windows. But why are the houses? Do you ever learn why the houses are long and narrow?
You know what? It's a good question. There is like some amazing history about it. I'm not exactly sure, but the canal, they're kind of slanted. So some of it is like they have to pay a lot of money to make sure that these houses aren't crashing into each other. You know, some of them
Whoa.
are tilting. It's like a bunch of little mini Tower of Pisas.
Oh, leaning into the next ones.
Yeah, like some of the piers were originally built in the Victorian era. So a lot of times they have to like pay divers to go underneath and see what could be fixed, can it be fixed? You know, they're constantly monitoring things.
Mhm.
You know, that's a great question. I wish I had the answer.
That's interesting.
You have to look it up, sorry.
Yeah, well, I thought, well, the reason I ask is I kind of thought it would have something to do with what you told us about the windows, like a house with a lot of frontage. If they're basing the tax on, you know, they're taxing people based on the number of windows they have, then heck, I'm going to make my house as deep as possible, but I'm not
Well-
going to have a crap load of windows, you know?
But see, that's what Napoleon did. I'm not saying it's like that anymore. You
Yeah.
know, that's
Well,
just
but it was
something
during that time that a lot of these houses were
Built.
you know, were built, which is what I was, why I was wondering that is, did those, you know, those two things have anything to do with each other?
Yeah, I wish I was a historian.
You mentioned something too on your canal tour about curtains as well. Your canal guide had told you something about curtains with.
Right. I always try to get a lay of the land when I go somewhere, you know, cultural norms, things like that. Originally, when I looked it up, they said something about it was embedded in the culture that people pretty much have their curtains open and they'll eat dinner. You can look right in.
Hmm.
And they said it was something about having nothing to hide. That's what I originally heard.
Mm,
Then the canal guide
Ah.
said that people like to show off their wealth. So, like, I have this beautiful home. So, I don't know. Maybe there's multiple reasons. Maybe it started one way because it wasn't super wealthy, you know, in the 50s. So, maybe over time, you know, it's like a status symbol, like, look at my beautiful house. Okay.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about this bike incident.
Oh, to
Or
not
how-
talk about bikes would be like an injustice. I just was blown away. It was like Bike City. I knew Crystal was an avid biker, so she
Yeah.
appreciated
Well,
this.
Joe too.
and
I think-
Mr. Joe Celsi.
I think they
St.
call them
Cheryl.
cyclists. Biker is a whole different thing.
Okay,
Ah.
whatever you want to call it. You have it in your DNA there somehow. So they're just everywhere. It looks like fun. It looks crazy. Like literally we were walking through what looked like alleyways, like in the back of houses. And all of a sudden you'll hear a bell. I'm like, what's that? And it was kind of like this guy
Better
warning
move.
people like I'm about to be
Better
in
move.
no, it wasn't towards us. It was
Oh.
just like I'm coming to an intersection. If there's another bike there, I'm here and I'm not slowing down. So we might crash, we might not. Like
Wow.
it's hard to wrap your mind around how it works. They say, you know, there are bike accidents, especially with the tourists. So I don't know if it's when the tourists are on the bikes or if they're getting hit, because they're really, the tour guide told me there aren't any rules, and he was a former police officer, so that's pretty official. And I was explaining to someone that the only rules seem to be how walkers are to behave towards the bikers, and you're supposed to bow down. Okay.
They're really the pedestrian
Wow.
rules.
Yeah, the pedestrian. Thank you.
Nope.
So when we were going into the area with a lot of museums, like Van Gogh, there's the Van Gogh Museum, there's another art museum, and there's just like maybe three museums in this one particular area. So there was 2 areas that looked like a crosswalk, and I just walked up, not really paying attention, and this biker pointed me like, "Hey, you go over there, lady," you know, not in a rude way, but I was like, wow, there's a place to cross for the bikes, and then there's a, you know, place to cross for walkers. But sometimes, okay, we were parallel, and then when we were coming back, there was some sort of path in front of where you're about to cross the street. So then all of a sudden it's intersecting, but it's on the pavement that the bikes are coming. So if you don't pay attention, like getting to the edge of the corner, like a bike
Wow.
can come.
Wow.
And there's they're unapologetic. It's not that they're mean. It's just like you're not following their rules.
Their rules.
Makes me think about the Vespas in Saigon. Just you cross the street and it's, you know, you're going to get mowed down.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
it's scary. And sometimes they're on the sidewalk, and I don't know if that's a place that they're supposed to be on the sidewalk. In other areas, they wouldn't be on the sidewalk. But sometimes you're on an area that is paved, but then there might be a tree, so you have to step down into the street. You better make sure you look behind you because there might be a bike coming. There was one time there was a younger girl right behind us, and if I had stepped out to the left, I would have gotten hit. Like, because I told my husband, I'm like, you see how close she was to me? Like, there was no warnings, no bell. I didn't get a bell.
Oh man.
One more question before we go to the rapid fire finish. So the red light district, I remember when Cheryl went here, she's like, you just turn a corner and it's there. Like it's in the middle of the city and it's there.
Right. So we walked there. We knew, you know, we didn't want to go there at night. We weren't about
Weren't
to
shopping.
partake in anything.
Shopping.
But, you know, you walk around, there's like some erotica museum, or, you know, you see these different things and you're just kind of like looking and not looking. But we did walk by a spot that I didn't catch. And my husband's like, hey, that lady in the bikini just waved at me. I go, where? And I looked back and I'm like, wait, I wanted to walk again. I wish we did, because I would have waved back because she waved to my husband. I'm like, what did you do? What did you do? He's like, I didn't do anything. I looked away. I'm like,
Right.
He
Sure.
looked at his
And then-
shoes.
right. And then he had to go to an important meeting that he.
yeah, I was like, hey, lady, we are not shopping, browsing,
Right.
window shopping. We're not
No.
lining up our night. He's my man. Okay.
One and only. Oh, that's funny.
All right, we're going to finish this up with rapid fire. And Crystal, why don't we go back and forth on these? We got a
Okay.
bunch of questions. Give us fast answers to each of these questions. You ready?
I'm sorry. You said it's for Crystal or me?
Both. Oh, yeah, you.
Oh,
For
okay.
you, are you ready?
Yeah.
Karen
I'm
Cornwell?
ready. I'm
All
I'm too
right.
ready.
Crystal, kick us off.
So what kind of traveler would love Amsterdam?
Someone who likes to walk a great deal,
And not get run over by bikes.
not get
Right,
run
yeah.
over or get tendonitis like I did.
Self-aware. They have to be self-aware.
It was so walkable, I got tendonitis. Okay, I'm not even lying.
Ah,
So who shouldn't go?
You know what? It would be hard with little kids because you would have to keep your eye on them every single second. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend. I saw one toddler on a little tricycle, but that was it.
Oh. Well, what would you say is the best trip length?
For this place,
Yeah.
Let's see. Left Sunday, came back Saturday, the following Saturday. So that felt perfect to me.
So
About
covering
7.
covering just Amsterdam in 7 days. You didn't leave the city?
Well, we did for day trips. So we went to the windmills that were close by. It's called Zonseshan, something like that. I can spell it. I'm a good speller. But they're windmills. It was very easy, very walkable. It's free. You take a bus. It takes like about an hour maybe. And it was fun.
Mhm.
There's all types of cheeses. There's shops. You can learn about the Dutch shoes. There's a museum there. It depends how much time you want to spend over there. So I just went over there to see the windmills and get some shots of that and I got some cheese. Okay. I did.
There you go.
Perfect. What
For
do you
your
think
pancakes.
what do you think the best season to go would be?
I'm biased. I think spring. I wanted to see the tulips. That's another thing that you can do. Hop on a
Spring.
bus. It was amazing. I was blown away. It's like the Disney World of flowers, and good and bad. There's a lot of crowds. You know, people are rushing in to see these tulips.
Yeah.
But yeah, we walked around as much as we could. Once we got our fill of tulips, we just hopped back on the bus, which was nice. It was like a hop on, hop off, but just for tulips. So if the bus was ready to leave, you could, hop back on as long as, you were within a certain time frame. I think like after 6 o'clock or something, you're on your own.
Wow.
All right. Neat. What's your favorite moment?
Favorite moment? Oh boy. I think I like the canal tour. I really liked the guide and it was just relaxing. It even started raining and it kind of made it more fun. They gave us umbrellas.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Most unexpected moment.
Probably the lady waving at my husband.
how about your most stressful moment?
You know what? I can't really say it was stressful at all. Just the
Oh, that's
bike,
great.
just, having to pay
Yeah.
attention to bikes. But
The bike moment.
yeah, I can't say anything was stressful.
Is there one thing specifically you think Americans should know before they visit?
Well, if you're in the red light district at night, there's absolutely no taking pictures. There's no taking pictures inside of Anne Frank either. We didn't catch all the wild stereotypic stuff, but if you want that, it's there. Like I thought I was going to be like smelling marijuana everywhere. It's not like that. I don't even think it's allowed in that central area where I was. So it doesn't necessarily fit the stereotype, but I'm sure if you want to find that, you can find that.
Of course. And would you go back?
I plan on going back. I want to make a trip to Belgium. So whatever I didn't see, I want to see like Rotterdam. There's really pretty architecture and just I'm going to, plan in the moment and see, hey, what's next to Rotterdam or however it works out with Belgium. What would be the easiest things to see?
Awesome.
That is awesome. Thank you for taking us to Amsterdam.
Yes. Thank you.
I hope I
Karen.
gave you enough good info and you can go there and have a great time.
So we got to talk about the thing everybody's wondering, what's coming up next on the Everyday Bucket List?
I'm making a playlist of all these different places that I went there, and I'm going very in depth. So people can look for the playlist. I could leave you the link to that if you like, if they want
Sure.
to hear, more details, like common questions that people would ask. And then I'm also going to talk about my New York trip because I always go back there. I can't live without my New York City.
It's so funny. I just we're headed back in early July. Gonna go right back there.
Nice.
Yeah, should be a great time. All right, thank you so much, and
Yes.
that's gonna do it for today's episode. Big hand for Annette, by the way, taking on the backpack.
Congrats.
Annette, I'm gonna be writing you, and we'll get your address, and we'll get that out to you. And everybody, stay tuned because we're going to find out where I am hiding around the world
Where
next.
Joe?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think I got the place picked out.
That was hard to pick the place.
Yeah. I think I have the place. There's a good one. We'll see how long it takes, people. But I got to
Okay.
finalize that. That's going to do it for today. Thank you to Karen Cordaway for joining us from Everyday Bucket List. She's Crystal.
And I'm Joe. He's Joe. Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.